Hello? Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to Inside the NTL, the first episode of this show. We're live from Frederick Square Garden, home of the Bullets. We take you in on the inside of the NTL, and there's a lot to cover. The Season 1 offseason has been much more eventful than we anticipated. So, the very first thing we're going to talk about on this show is the Dingus debacle. And I know he's watching, and I didn't think he'd be watching so early, but there is a debacle. And this sort of incident, which I'm about to describe, is mixed up multiple franchises and might be a defining moment in the league's history, even if it didn't seem that huge. Now, it could trickle down later. A debacle's like a situation. So Dingus, he's the Emperor's superstar. He won the Triple Crown. He's got all the awards that a captain can possibly achieve in Season 1. 73 points compared to second place myself with 54. And it's just been a clean sweep this season, other than the playoffs, which I'm about to talk on that topic. Well, the Emperors got swept in the playoffs after starting 3-0 in the regular season, and they looked unstoppable. And Dingus obviously was frustrated after getting swept 2-0 to a team that he probably assumed was inferior to them. And, they beat the Bullets twice, but the Bullets swept them in the playoffs, so obviously that's going to cause some frustration. And Dingus was only signed to a 1-year contract, meaning that Ari had to work something out with his superstar if he wanted him to stay. However, there was some sort of inactivity on that front until the Cannons. Fatal leaves the Cannons, does not have a good performance in the playoffs, whatsoever. And so this is the perfect time for Ozuna to, open up to having another superstar on the team. And had this trade between the Emperors and Cannons gone through, which would have given a $600,000 bonus to the Emperors for giving up Dingus, who was already eyeing other teams. Had this trade gone through, then we wouldn't have even seen the Spears come to existence. Dingus would be on the Cannons. Ozuna would have another superstar, potentially better than Fatal was. And that would have been it, right? That's the common sense trade to make. And then out of nowhere, we were informed on one day that the trade fell through and the trade would not be going through, meaning that Dingus was just sort of a free agent now and he could do whatever he wants. So the move was to set up shop as a crosstown rival to the Canopolis Bullets and become the Kingsville Spears, driven on a desire for revenge for the rest of the NTL. And notably, Dingus did want to go to the Bullets, but the Bullets had a full roster with players signed up until past Season 3. So if there was any team that could take Dingus, it wasn't the Bullets, because they just were not capable of being able to take such a superstar. And so now you've got the Spears in existence with 3 players, including Zor, the finals MVP. Well, not the finals MVP, but he played a big part in helping the Blue Bombers win the finals. And so you have a finals winning center and an MVP captain and a rookie who could develop really well under this situation. And that's going to bring me to my next topic, the Super Spears. And can you believe it? The Kingsville Spears, I honestly think if they weren't in a division with the Bullets, they could sweep any team in the NTL except for maybe Brooklyn, but that's to be decided later on. However, the Spears are scary. They made quick offseason signings, and now Dingus, who is just looking for a team to go to, now has a team of his own and has a giant arena of his own with 40,000 seats, the most in the league. And as he likes to call it, the oven lit up in red and gold. So, definitely a scary team in every aspect. And if there's one team you want to watch out for, Season 2, you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm thinking about. And that brings us to our next topic. team additions in Season 2, the Spears being one of them. Today we got the LA Stars, and just recently we got the Albany Ironbirds and the Augusta Mammoth, who were scheduled to play in Season 1, however, weren't able to as they were waitlisted until this season. And so, Lando finally gets his chance to play. Miles gets his chance to play. And it's going to be an exciting season. However, an issue is the draft. There's only so many free agents and draftees this year. And so some teams might have to play 1v1 ball, which, 2v2 ball is much more fun in toss ball at least, but 1v1 can be doable. And so that's going to be a concern. But last but not least, we've got some media news, as the Sailors Entertainment Network will soon be making a conversion to FSG, our own network. Our own secondary network will be hosting Bullets, Spears, and Bombers games. So make sure to check that out. From here live at Frederick Square Garden, we'll operate a secondary network, and that'll get you your toss ball games. And that's all. See you next time on Inside the NTL. Up next, we got the NL Championship in the Connet pregame, so stick around for that.
Welcome to a long way from home, baby. It's a long flight.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You're far too kind. Say hello to Mr. Arrogant.
Get your boy past,
He's
baby.
one of a kind. You can put your hands together. Please don't be shy. Hey.
4 fingers up, 1 finger on that down plate. Cat screaming data, ignore what these clowns say.
Do you enjoy horror movies? Or maybe just some survival games with your friends? Or even making people rage quit very quickly? Then I suggest playing Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a 4 versus 1 survival game with characters such as Ghostface, Ken Konecki, Michael Myers, and some Stranger Things cast. In Dead by Daylight, you're either playing as a survivor trying to complete 5 generators while a killer's chasing you, or a killer trying to get the 4 survivors trying to escape from you. It's a very fun game, especially with friends, and all the characters are either unique to the game or licensed characters from very popular horror game franchises.
I'm assuming if you watch this regularly scheduled program, you enjoy Roblox sports games. This game in particular is Volleyball Legends. In Volleyball Legends, you play volleyball on teams of 6 versus 6. And the controls of this game are very simple, and once you finally get them down to a T, you'll get it like muscle memory. There's more than just volleyball in this game, with unlockable cosmetics such as different skins for the volleyball, different characters that vary in different stats, and different emotes you can get as well. This game in itself also has your special move, which is like an ultimate ability, and that is usually the game winner for most cases.
Do you enjoy fast-paced gameplay, or even consider yourself cool and maybe even old enough to be in the height of the Roblox Doors era? And I introduce to you Grace, made by the Far View, is a fast-paced door-style game where you have to beat each level in a set amount given time. This game is easy to pick up, but not so easy to put down. Once you learn, it's like you learn how to ride a bike. The mechanics of the game are simple. You load in, and you face troubles, so under a set time limit, and you don't really know where you're going, but it's fine, you'll figure it out along the way. And I suggest playing with friends. It's always kind of sad. You can meet friends through the 3 game modes they offer: Zombies, Magic Mode, and Classic Game Mode.
Hello and welcome to Con Sports, the National League Championship, Season 22. Can you believe it? And it's right here on Con Sports. Welcome to the Connet pregame. I'm your host, and they're not here yet, but hopefully they'll be here, as it's going to be a good one, folks. We have so many moments of heartbreak for these teams. The Raleigh Wardogs and the Portland Pioneers, who are playing a home game today, being the National League National League North champions. And for the first time, we're back on the West Coast for the conference final. And, you know, you hope the players show up, but really, it's not a huge matchup like it was in previous seasons. You know, you've had Blazing versus Ari, and don't get me started on all the Liberty League championships. You know, this just doesn't carry that same historic splendor. However, I think it carries a different type of intrigue to it. It's two teams that really haven't tasted good times ever, or in so long. As well, the Pioneers really won a Cinderella ring in season 17, but that was about it. As now, 5 seasons later, they've won one playoff game, and they've been 0-6 in the National League Championship since then. So they have, or 0-5, sorry. So they do have experience in this big game. However, they just haven't been able to show up when it matters most. Ari always getting just outplayed by super teams. As in the National League, you never really have a season where teams have parity. However, it might be the case this time around, is the only time these two teams have played, the significantly lesser Raleigh Wardogs have actually won in a stunning comeback. So you have 2 underdog franchises in what will be, in my opinion, one of my favorite matchups. Even if I said this didn't carry much splendor, I promise you, this will be fun. As it's the Wardogs and the Pioneers, and here alongside with me, we have Dingus, and this is the first AFA game in a while, so people have been waiting for it. And the winner of this game moves on to Miami for the Bloxy Bowl. And Portland is 1-0, 1-1. No, 1-1 in Bloxy Bowls. And Raleigh hasn't even remotely tasted it. They've had one playoff game. However, it was sort of yes. They've had one playoff game. However, it sort of came because Colorado was forfeited from the league forcefully. And so the Wardogs had a spot open, and they were mathematically eliminated for the playoffs at the end of the season. So they took that spot, but they sort of got beat to a pulp, 35-14, and Stabby just never really had a chance in this game. But now he sort of has a chance. This is a team that he's beat before. However, he's in hostile territory for a playoff game. That doesn't matter. You know, in big games, it's even footing. This isn't a baseball best of 7 or a. It's none of that. It's one game, and what matters is who's gonna have the higher score at the end. And you know, Ari, he does have a significantly good offense. However, recently he's just not showing it. I don't think he's got a win since potentially season 19. So he's been on a loss streak, a huge loss streak. And he's just been losing big games. And so although he has the advantage over Stabby with this one, you know, it's all about if Ari can perform, if he can just stay locked in the whole game, have a strategy going into this one. Because Stabby, although he hasn't won a playoff game yet, you know, he can bite sometimes. That dog can bite. And, you know, it could be easy to beat him. It could be ridiculously hard. It's just, how do you take it? That is the approach. I couldn't boil it down any more simpler. How do you take it? And a recap of the AFA playoffs so far. The other conference championship, the Liberty League championship, will be for the 5th time out of 6 years in the last time this will happen. Conopolis versus Jamestown, the upstate New York rivalry again. With the Express on a retirement tour led by yours truly. And Jamestown led by Wrangler, who was going to get a forfeit ring for season 22 to move things along, but it was since decided that we need a season 22 finale, so that's why we're here tonight. And you know, hopefully closer to game time people show up, as we've got the fans, we just don't have the players. And we'll be right back after these messages from your sponsor. Would be the longest game winner. It's up and it's gonna be good! Oh my goodness! No way! Oh my lord! 10, 5, touchdown Miami! This is insane! And he stopped! We're back in the game! The 50, 40, 35, 30! What a return! What a play! He's off! 10! Stopped at the 1! This is insane! Touchdown,
And he gets a hole! Touchdown! He's in and out of the side!
Do you enjoy fast-paced gameplay, or even consider yourself cool and maybe even old enough to be in the height of the Roblox Doors era? Then I introduce to you Grace, made by the Farming Views, a fast-paced door-style game where you have to beat each level in a set amount of given time. This game is easy to pick up, but not so easy to put down. Once you learn, it's like you learn how to ride a bike. The mechanics of the game are simple. You load in, and you face troubles So under a set time limit, and you don't really know where you're going, but it's fine. You'll get there along the way. And I suggest playing with friends. It's kind of sad. You can meet friends through the 3 game modes they offer: Zombies, Magic Mode, and Classic Game Mode.
Would be the longest game winner.
Welcome to a long way from home, baby. It's a long flight.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You're far too kind. Say hello to Mr. Arrogant.
Get your boarding pass,
He's
baby.
one of a kind. You can put your hands together. Please don't be shy. Hey. 4 fingers up, 1 finger on that down plate. Cat screaming data, it ignore what these clowns say.
Hello and welcome back to the Connet pregame. The final moments of the pregame show before we get kickoff ready. And we got a trailer ready for you. And the National League Championship Playoff AFA has to be one of the most exciting things on Blockade. And I don't say that in a biased way. I have won a lot of games, fun fact, in the playoffs. And I have also lost quite a few. We don't talk about those. We just talk about the wins. However, Stabby in attendance for the Wardogs. This will be his night if he can just stay focused and make sure to get the upset. He's only the underdog by 0.5 points. 0.5, that's right. Portland is only favored by 0.5, and that's sort of because, you know, Stabby's been proven to beat him, and Ari has sort of been inconsistent. However, with the experience Ari has, he could still be favored in this one and pull through. And that's all for the Connet pregame. We'll be right back with kickoff. See you in a moment. This is Con Sports. And he might take it all the way downfield. It's a miracle. Hamilton takes the lead. Holy Mackinac. As he goes downfield, gets a big gain, and he just might walk this off. There's no way. A miracle in Hamilton. One last play, but Baltimore, no matter what happens here, he advances to the next round.
Just a chance that maybe we'll find.
Hello and welcome to the National League Championship game. Nothing else matters but that Bloxy Bowl trophy waiting for one of these two teams in Miami. As it's the Wardogs in their first ever conference title appearance, 0-1 in the playoffs, versus the Portland Pioneers, led by Ari, who's yet to arrive, but this is his home game. It could be his night. He's favored by 0.05. Or 0.5. The first time that's ever happened in a playoff game. And it's going to be an exciting one. Two teams that are closer to each other than you think. You know, if there's any season for Stabby to pop off, it's this one. This could be his breakout season in the AFA. It's just a matter of how he performs in this game and the strategy both of these teams use. And strategy has been a weak point of these teams. And so we might see a shootout or we might see some sloppy football. There could be no in between here. Whatever it is, it's going to be fun. As when Ari arrives, we'll get the coin toss and kickoff underway shortly. This is only the second or third playoff game held in Bloxy Burgers Field under the Pioneers' tenure here. And as people practice on the field, AFA fever is coming back. And the dog pound ready for action here. Ozuna rooting for the Pioneers. As Ari is 1 for 6 in conference title games all time. Can he make it? Can he make it 2 of 7? Or will it be 1 of 7? And Stabby hasn't even touched it yet. Tonight is his chance to get a Bloxy Bowl. The ultimate Cinderella story, just like the one Portland won off of. And so this is sort of a full circle moment. And you know, Stabby has hardly played a game in Season 22. And now he gets the chance to make it to the Bloxy Bowl for the first time in Raleigh history. And eventually, finally, I'll stop saying Carolina instead of Raleigh on broadcast. And that might end tonight. As nervous anticipation for Ari to arrive. And, you know, Stabby's readier for kickoff than ever. And that's the kind of confidence you want going into a conference title game. Being in the Final Four is a great opportunity. And making it to the Final Two would be terrific. And I'm sure Ari's feeling the same way, whatever he's doing right now. And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Do you enjoy fast-paced gameplay, or even consider yourself cool and maybe even old enough to be in the height of the Roblox Doors era? Then I introduce to you Grace, made by the Far Right Views, a fast-paced door-style game where you have to beat each level in a set amount given time. This game is easy to pick up, but not so easy to put down. Once you learn, it's like you learn how to ride a bike. The mechanics of the game are simple. You load in, and you face troubles, so under a set time limit, and you don't really know where you're going, but it's fine, you'll figure it along the way. And I suggest playing with friends. It's always kind of sad. You can meet friends through the 3 game modes they offer: Zombies, Magic Mode, and Classic Game.
I'm assuming if you watch this regularly scheduled program, you enjoy Roblox sports games. This game in particular is Volleyball Legends. In Volleyball Legends, you play volleyball on teams of 6 versus 6, and the controls of this game are very simple, and once you finally get them down to a T, you'll get it like muscle memory. There's more than just volleyball in this game, with unlockable cosmetics such as different skins for the volleyball, different characters that vary in different stats, and different emotes you can get as well. This game in itself also has your special move, which is like an ultimate ability, and that is usually the game winner for most cases.
Welcome to a long way from home, baby. It's a long flight.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You're far too kind. Say hello to Mr. Arrogant.
Get your boarding pass,
He's
baby.
one of a kind.
can put your hands together. Please don't be shy. Hey. 4 fingers up, 1 finger on that down plate. Cat screaming data, ignore what these clowns say.
Do you enjoy horror movies? Or maybe just some survival games with your friends? Or even making people rage quit very quickly? Then I suggest playing Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is a 4 versus 1 survival game with characters such as Ghostface, Ken Konecki, Michael Myers, and some Stranger Things cast. In Dead by Daylight, you're either playing as a survivor trying to complete 5 generators while a killer's chasing you, or a killer trying to get the 4 survivors trying to escape from you. It's a very fun game, especially with friends, and all the characters are either unique to the game or licensed characters from very popular horror game franchises.
And welcome back. No, Ari has not arrived yet. However, we have 5 other people in attendance right now waiting to see this game, or 4 if you don't include Stabby. In well, Ari just has not arrived. He agreed. He said probably 9. And I wonder if he said probably 9 so he could get away with ghosting this one, unless he actually isn't here for a reason, in which case we haven't heard yet. But if he's not here by 9:15 and there's no valid excuse, then this would be a Carolina forfeit win. Or Raleigh forfeit win! There we go. I finally made that mistake. I have finally called Raleigh Carolina tonight. That is the longest I have gone without misnaming Stabby's team. My apologies. And, you know, with a matchup with so much hype, you wouldn't expect one of the participants to just not show up. And Dangus is trying to sub for Ari. However, the problem is, unless Ari, as I get tased by the one-time Bloxy Bowl champion, well, you know the situation. And so I guess all you need to know is Stabby could win this off of a forfeit. Only the second time a conference champion has won off of just mere luck. Fatal has done so in Season 8. That's how he punched his ticket after Blazing decided to forfeit that season due to time constraints. And I wonder if that'll happen again, as more recently, teams have had to forfeit games in the AFA. out of their own will to just move things along because they know they'd hold it up. And, you know, it would suck to see the Pioneers have to forfeit this one, but that's the most likely course of option. Or course of action. As tomorrow the NTL season begins. Over Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be fun. An 8-team league now, up from 4. It's going to be exciting to say the least. Who are you rooting for? Or are you playing? Are you going to win? Who knows? And so, that's the wrong game. And so, that's all from Consports. We'll see you later tomorrow if we even get a game. But we will see you tomorrow for an NTL game, potentially.